Good afternoon. Hey, what's up, folks? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Got the live LBTS cam up here. Haven't done that for a while. A couple people out there doing some windsurfing, I guess, and a little bit choppy out there. I think I'm going to go fishing maybe tomorrow. Depends on what the winds look like. Look a little heavy right now. But this is not a wind, weather, or a surf report. Wish it was. All right, haven't talked to you folks in a little while in this particular format. You know, I've done a couple different videos lately, the more educational style videos and some videos of coin shows and different things. But here we are. Let's get back to our old format here somewhat, and I'm going to discuss a couple subjects that I've been thinking about for some time, which is the silver shortage, which some folks are probably saying, silver shortage, what do you know? And we're going to get into that, and we're also going to get into is it legal to melt U.S. coins? And it's an interesting subject we'll talk about. But meanwhile, let's get into the meat of the situation, which is spot prices. And where are we at right now? Well, gold continues to hit all-time highs. 2082 was a close on Friday here. And 2940 high, as you can see, at 2870. So, I mean, it looks like we're approaching that $3,000 mark. And gold continues to hit all-time highs over and over. Poor silver, not quite yet. Last all-time high 2012, close to $50 an ounce. Prior to that was 1980. Silver has only hit its all-time high twice. You know, but I have to tell you, it's a lofty goal to ever want to hit the 1980 inflation-adjusted price of silver of $50 an ounce. It's a lofty goal, but I can see it happening because we've got similar things going on. What happened back in 1980, the Hunt brothers understood there was a huge short position by the crooked Crimex banks, the LBMA, all them banks. There are similarities happening right now, and the Hunt brothers called them on this, and they caused price of silver to go up dramatically, gold go up dramatically, and was going to probably shut down a few bullion banks or cost them dearly until the bullion banks and the Crimex and the London Bullion, LBMA, decided to all get together and use their collusive crookedness to knock the Hunt brothers out, and that's exactly what happened. Hunt brothers never did anything illegal. They follow the rules and they get screwed. But here we are, years and years later, but it's not the Hunt brothers anymore. It's the world. It's big investors. It's even people for years that denied that there was any kind of manipulation in the precious metals markets, and they denied that there was a shortage of silver. Even these people are woken up today. I mean, I forgive the word woken, but to some degree, people in the world are woken to the knowledge that the COMEX markets are crooked and that the bullion banks are fairly crooked to some degree. JPM, got fined almost $1 billion for spoofing and screwing with gold and silver markets, and they're still in control of gold and silver markets. Think about that, folks. So the fox is still guarding the hen house out there. But silver to hit an all-time high of 50 inflation adjusted for $1980. Again, I've said it many times. I mean, $1980, $50 in 1980 is what, $500 now? Wouldn't you agree? Probably at least 10 times that. There's people who are going to say less. There's people who are going to say more, and I'm sure they both have valid points. But to hit that mark today, that equivalent $500 an ounce silver, I mean, is that possible? Yeah, folks, I think it is. I think in a market where they've just run out of room or run out of crookedness, the ability to create more paper. Because the big difference with gold and silver is really used in industry. That's why we're seeing these shortages. But I'm going to get into that a little bit. Let's talk about platinum real quick as well. Platinum unloved, palladium unloved. And when's the best time to buy a resource, something that humans use, mankind uses? Platinum and palladium are useful products, folks. They're useful in the industry of automotive industry. Obviously, we know about catalytic converters, but they're also used for catalyst and other things. They're used in the chemical world to create chemicals, make chemicals, and platinum and palladium have very specific qualities that gold and silver do not have that gives them unique properties in in science, in a lot of different type of sciences, and again, products that we use today, including chemicals. You can Google that yourself, the uses for platinum and palladium besides catalytic converters. I think you'll find that real interesting. Let's move into a couple things. And first, folks, I always want to say when I talk about the markets being rigged, you know, our whole life is rigged. Our lives are rigged from day one. You're lied to from day one about Santa Claus or whatever it may be, Easter bunnies and so. You know, no nice lies. I mean, nice white lies. But from day one, you're manipulated, and that includes when you get to school, your government, and as we've all found out recently. Not all of us, most of us know it all along, but many people are finding out more and more that they've been lied to by their governments and their media. So, you know, certainly the game is rigged out there, folks. But if you know how the game is rigged, don't let it stop you, because if you don't bet, you can't win. You can't just throw your hands up and say, well, I'm not going to play anymore because the game is rigged. You know, and the interesting thing is if you know how a game is rigged, you're at a distinct advantage to the rest of the players at the table. Don't ever forget that. And we know how the games are rigged, folks. These $5 to $10 increments, the monkey hammering that we see going on, especially this week. Silver looks like it was going to make a run to that $33 mark. Boom. Gold looked like it was going to make a run to that $3,000 mark. Boom. And exactly what that is, that's just the Crimex, the LBMA. These are the bullion markets. Bullion banks. These are, you know, the JPMs. These are, you know, I'm not saying any specific bank here might be doing that, but they're all very collusive in their behaviors when it comes to shorting these markets. They're all very collusive in their behavior when it comes to collectively making money in a shady, in a probably just shady ways. All right. So markets did get monkey hammered, silver and gold get monkey hammered. But why don't you worry about that? Why don't we worry about that? Again, if you've been watching my video for years, this is the reason we don't worry about it, because you can't stick your money in a mattress, under a mattress. What if you had taken, for example, silver, $50 an ounce in 1980s, equivalent to $500 an ounce now. Think about that from that way. But think about if you had stuck an ounce of silver in your mattress at $50 an ounce. At the high back then, you'd still be kind of screwed here, wouldn't you? But you stuck a $50 bill. At the same time, in 1980, you stuck a $50 bill on your mattress, and you stuck an ounce of silver. Now, granted, you would have lost half your value, or more than half your value over time on silver. It would take a long time to make that up, but, you know, the $50 bill is worth 10 times less now. A $50 bill is worth what? If you were going to do the reverse math, it's $5, all right? And now the equivalent might be $5 now, a $50 bill. Significant, folks. So this is why we own gold and silver. When we look at this chart, it's the consumer price index. And trust me, even though I think the T-Man is doing a wonderful job out there as far as walking the walk and talking the talk so far when it comes to the economy, closing down crooked media, and ferreting out corruption and the massive amounts of money that has been stolen from us taxpayers over the year. But I digress. It's still not going to help this. Our country is still run on a fiat currency, and a fiat currency's ultimately, there's no fiat currency that's ever survived longer than the United States. We are the experiment at this point, and there's no reason to believe that we're going to, the U.S. dollar is going to survive intact the way it is. Might be why we're seeing this talk about, gold being repatriated to the United States, which has still not been confirmed for the Fed, or not for the Fed, but for the Treasury Department. U.S. gold is being brought back. Again, speculative right now. There is huge amounts of gold being brought back in the United States from London. Again, that's a whole different story, folks, if you've been following it. The repatriation of gold from London into the U.S. And has London defaulted on that? Well, very probable. They're saying that it's really tough to get the gold back here. But why is this massive amounts of gold coming back here? Some people are talking about tariffs. They believe that the Trump's tariff is going to make it expensive to bring gold in the United States. So if we own it, if I'm a company or I'm a whatever and I own it, I want to bring it back here before the tariffs. There's other people believe that this is the U.S. asking for its gold back from the Fed or the Treasury, and the Fed asking for its gold back. And so there's a lot of reasons that you're seeing gold flood back from the London vaults, if it's even there, or them trying to buy it and cover it and coming back to U.S. But again, I digress. All this stuff really points to you can't stick a dollar underneath your mattress and expect it to have even with silver at an all-time high back then. You still would have had a better silver bait putting an ounce of silver under your mattress. That was worth $50 that you paid too much for than a $50 bill, right? I mean, think about that. And again, silver has not done great since then. And why? Lots of manipulation, folks. Again, a whole different story. But why do we own gold and silver? Particularly gold, is because of this chart right here. I mean, look at your 1 year. You thought that, hang on a second, that's my 1 year? That is my 1 year chart. 1 year, the T-man's just gotten an end, and this chart ain't looking any better, folks. Your dollar is not buying more. It looks like we're even going to see higher inflation here coming up, perhaps because of the tariffs that we're seeing. But that line right there just indicates that your dollar buys less and less. And, if you look at the long term, it's almost like a rocket ship, as it slowly gets to Earth, like Tesla's rocket ship. It's full power. Look at this. Boom, full power on, full power on. The complete loss of the value of the buying power of the dollar in such a visual way that you can see it. The engines are on full blast, just burning up the value of the U.S. dollar. But slowly down here, we get down closer to where Elon's about to catch catch it. I know that's a strange analogy, but the power is lower and lower and lower as we go. I mean, again, just take a look at this. And this is the 1 year. I mean, 31.7, 31.5. So, folks, the dollar is doomed. The fiat dollar is doomed. And I kind of think that what we're looking at right now under this current administration is some way to save it or to prop it up temporarily. Let's see what they can do. We're too early into this. Charts, haven't talked about charts for a little while either. But again, here's what I have talked about. It's just, look, gold's all-time highs. And this is the gold historical chart. By the way, free charts on macro trends. Macro trend charts are great, and you can look at them for free. And I don't get anything for saying that, but you want some good charts and some interesting overlays, go to macro trends. This is inflation adjusted, but take a look at gold. Here, we click that off real quick. Just not much of a visual difference there. As you can see here, and where is let's look at all years. There's your all years charts. I mean, of course, there's your 1980 market gold. Again, that's inflation adjusted. And I don't know how they do the inflation adjusting. I'm sure it's skewed off one way or another. Most people would agree. In fact, let's just kind of turn that off right now. There we go. Gold actually got up into that $700-800 range. I don't see it right here when I'm clicking over that a couple times, but correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but I thought gold got near $800. Maybe it didn't. Maybe my memory's fading. But there you go. There's your big 1980 market in gold. There's your second big wave up, all-time highs in that 2012 range. I think it was like, 17, 18, 1900. And then again, folks, here, since this period right here, 2020, we have just been continually breaking all-time highs right here. Silver, again, most of you know. I don't have to show you the silver chart, but not so much. Let's take a look at all years here. We'll turn off inflation adjusted. And same thing, there's your 1980. And again, I don't see $50 there, but I'm sure if I kind of moved it around a little bit, it would eventually show up. The chart's kind of compressed here. But $50 an ounce, equivalent to $500 now. Well, hey, let's see. Inflation adjusted. What do they show that at? 1980. $124 inflation. Yeah, it's more than that, I'm sure. All right, sorry. Didn't mean to get sidetracked. But there you go, 1980 market. There's your big high, of $50 per ounce. Again, let me just move that to inflation adjusted. It's impossible to really think of that right now, but $500 an ounce could change all that. You never know. We could see $500 an ounce silver. I'm not saying that's impossible either, especially with a short squeeze, and a short squeeze that was actually dictated by the need for physical. But there's our second market. Again, shows inflation adjusted for $68. If I turn that off, again, that should show about $50 an ounce silver, which it does right there. So non-inflation adjusted, 50. There's our two all-time highs. And silver are getting near approaching its all-time high. Again, 2/3 there at $35 an ounce. So here we are, folks. And this is why I like silver. A lot of guys ask me, gold's done very, very well. Should I sell my gold or sell my silver? That's a tough question, folks. I think if you're going to be around for a little while and you have faith that silver is going to again hit its all-time high and maybe even inflation adjusted, all-time high, which is possible. It's not impossible. Remember, we need silver for products. I think it's very possible. Where are we going to go from here? Gold to silver ratio, 100-year chart. Again, like this chart, but let's just take a look at these time periods. We're going to go all years. There's our 1980 market, and what you will notice is that when silver does move and when silver does perform, it performs extremely well. I mean, take a look at that ratio. If it's correct, 15 to 1 in the 1980 $50 market or $500 market, inflation adjusted, if you want to call that. There is, as you can see, after that point, except for right here, I mean, there's 1980. Right? Actually, that's kind of interesting because that goes back to 68 and 70. Next in years when we were taking off the gold and blah, blah, blah. But all right, here, let's move back into here when we start to see that ratio mark. Again, not even close to that 15 to 1, but 41 to 1. Again, 1980 was a very interesting market. 1980 was a market where the Hunt brothers said, hey, look, the king has no clothes, and the rest of the world realized that too. But they got shut down pretty quick, again, by these crooked, collusive players in bullion banks. But take a look at this again, your ratio 43 to 1. When's the last time we've seen another ratio like that? Is lower ratio is 65 to 1, and I believe that's when silver was heading into that $35 mark back in 2020, 2021 is why we see this ratio here. But this is where it really started happening. Look at that. I think at one time I saw 119 to 1 ratio on gold. That's when we started to see, well, gold was way up there, and this ratio started climbing higher and higher and higher. That's when we saw this happen right here when silver played catch up and got to that $35 mark. But folks, I think we're going to see, I think we're going to at least maybe see a reversion back to the 70 to 1 and maybe less. And I don't think it's because gold is going to come down. I think silver is going to rise to the occasion, and I think silver is going to go up in value, and tighten up that gold to silver ratio. Again, that's just my opinion. So that's why I like silver. I think silver's underperformed for quite some time, and I think, and again, the game is rigged, absolutely rigged. It's a paper rigged market, folks out there, especially with silver, such a small marketplace. But I believe at some point manufacturers are going to go Panasonic, and they're making batteries, and the Teslas, and the Lockheed Martin for making weapons, and they're all going to say, hey, listen, Lockheed's going to call one day, or a solar company, SolarLux, or whoever that is, one of the solar companies out there is going to call and say, hey, we need our standard, not big order, 15 tons of silver or whatever for our products, and they're going to get on the phone call. It's 16 weeks out. Folks, that is when the play is on. That is when you're going to see silver. As long as they got this paper that they can just churn about and shorting ETFs, which is really about just drawing out the physical silver, again, a whole different story. As soon as these companies start calling and looking for real silver for industries that we need, we got to have cars, we got to have solar, we have to have electronics. AI is going to really demand a huge amount of silver, folks. Think about this. So battery technology and just computer technology, huge amounts of silver are going to be needed even more in the future. And when it's not there, that's when the shit is going to hit the fan. I've been on X a lot, been writing a lot of articles kind of out there, spending more time here, and I wanted to bring up this one to you guys, update on United States retail bullion sales and purchases. It's a fairly short one, and again, you can find me on X under Brian Kuzmar. And I'm going to read this to you. Retail buyer activity increases. Over the past month, I've observed a noticeable uptick in retail buying, particularly from investors with substantial capital. And the beauty of just reading this is I can elaborate more on my thoughts here as we go too. People making bigger purchases, all right? Now, when I say this, I don't think, there's not people lined up at our door making six-figure purchases, but the number of people making six-figure purchases has increased substantially since, I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Cheers to you folks out there too. The number of people making six-figure purchases has ticked up more than it has been over the last year or year and a half or so, because bullion sales, retail bullion sales have just died off. All right. Despite this, premiums for retail products like gold eagles, silver eagles, which are the lowest I have seen them since 2016, are really cheap. So it presents a really good opportunity for people that have not bought in fully or at all to still buy gold and silver. And, some people are going to say, well, aren't you buying in at the high of gold here? Yes, but I still think there's a lot more room for run here, folks. I think that gold's been held down for a long time, and silver is just like an overwound mainspring that's just about to blow up. You know what I mean? Boom, the hands are going to start flying. But let me move along to my article here. Sorry about that. Market dynamics. The sellers that we're seeing, this current selling landscape is dominated by weak hands, all right? And when I say weak hands, it's usually individuals with no long-term interest in gold, including those who have inherited it without understanding its value, people that have been sitting on some gold for a long time that they got from their uncle or their dad, or they just had it and really never bought much of it and just sit in the drawer, and higher prices is kind of bringing them in. That's kind of weak hands. The only sellers that we're seeing and people that purposely have bought gold and silver, the stackers like yourself, are people that, the working class guys, the poor guys out there that are having a little rough go at it. And hey, man, I hate to sell my silver bars, or I hate to sell my eagles or my gold, but I got to pay the mortgage, or I got to, payroll to do, or I don't have a job right now. I mean, we're hearing that. So that's the other weak hands, but not large amounts of those, fortunately. In contrast, again, as I've said, what I'm seeing is a lot of folks are holding strong. Stackers are holding strong. We've sold, I can't tell you how many millions and millions and millions of dollars of precious metals over the year, especially my lifespan and and the amount of time I've been here in this area. Just huge amounts of gold and silver. And I know a lot of these customers, and some of them I only see once, some of them I see frequently till to this day that still are stacking. But I haven't seen any capitulation from this crowd at all, especially the big money, the 6-figure plus, the 7-figure plus crowd. I've not seen any capitulation from them at all. Not saying it doesn't happen elsewhere, but for us personally, we're not seeing it. Dealer actions. Dealers are offloading excess inventory primarily to manage cash flows, which should not be confused with capitulation from retail stacking, folks. And that's what I see some coin shops out there, saying, and some videos out there saying on YouTube that this is capitulation, blah, blah, blah. Hold on. This strategic move by dealer underscores the current market dynamics, but it's not single broad panic sell-off in retail sector. So your dealers are flush, like me, with product. We have lots of gold and silver stacker product, but it's particularly silver product. But the reason we have a large amount of product on hand is because the buying dropped off, folks. And the buying dropped off on silver primarily because silver is such a small community. People that buy gold and silver, you're rare. You're a rare person. You're listening to my videos right now and you own gold bars, gold, silver bars. You are a rare person. You are less than 1% of the population out there. And I can go into how I know this for a fact. Again, just ask 100 of your neighbors near your house, they're not going to tell you if they own gold and silver, your neighbors, but you got my point there, all right? But I know this for a fact. The gold and silver retail market, even though it seems big, and you walk into your dealer store and you go see bars, or you go to a mint and you see them with like stacks of 1,000-ounce bars, folks. The U.S. retail stacking market, that includes even the U.S. Eagles, if you want to include the U.S. Mint on top of that. We're a pimple on the ass of an elephant when it comes to our size and our buying power compared to the paper markets out there and in the industrial markets. So when we see the retail markets die in silver and gold, folks, and a lot of dealers have done this, and a lot of people in my industry have done this. They've mistaken this with there's no interest in silver. Stupid effing mistake, all right? There's plenty of interest in silver, except it's just not in our small, tiny retail segment. The interest is in your cars, everything you do every day, every electronic device that we operate. Our whole life revolves around silver, folks. So the silver market revolves around industrial use, and not so much, and will the retail and will the investment come into it? Yes. I think that as soon as the world realizes that there's a major shortage of silver out there, and when Panasonic or Tesla gets a call that something's going to be backed up for 16 weeks because they don't have silver, it's going to make it into the public. Now you're going to have investors flooding into silver, and they're going to flood into the ETFs, primarily SLV, because that's what they do. They're not physical stackers, all right? They have most 99% of Americans out there own real estate, stocks and bonds, or pension. That's their investment. They don't own silver, gold bars. We are rare, folks. Folks like us are rare, all right? So they're going to buy an ETF. Well, hopefully, they're going to buy a good ETF like SLV, which I believe does own the silver, even though they're playing a lot of games with silver shorting on SLV. All bets are off at that point once the public starts to find out. Once that the public starts to get that, where they've missed out. Oh gosh, time to jump in. All right, let me read the rest of this here. Here, market dynamics in precious metals. There is, folks, even though, so by the way, if you're looking to buy gold, silver, and platinum, we have the cheapest prices here in South Florida at Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. We're a brick and mortar here in South Florida. I'll beat the big boys out there. We beat the locals. Even there are some good locals. There's some good big boys out there. I beat them. Why? Because who do you want to beat? You want to beat the best. You want to beat the competitive people out there, and that's what we do at Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. And I can tell you, this goes into the story right here. The price of product, man, you can buy gold eagles from me for way cheaper. Silver eagles cheaper than you're able to buy it. 90% is so freaking cheap. All this stuff is cheap relative to its premium over the gold and silver prices. So if you're looking to buy gold, silver, and platinum, check with us, folks. We don't do online. We don't have a online where you can hit a button and buy some Krugerrands from us. But we can do traditional methods of payments if you don't have a good coin dealer near you and you're forced to buy online. Give us a call if you're buying larger quantities in gold and silver, and we can probably do bank wires, confirmations, and tidy you up and save you some money. All right, there's my sales point. There is a noticeable increase in premiums for gold bars, kilos, gold kilo bars, as well as 1,000-ounce and 100-ounce bars. Conversely, premiums on retail products like silver eagles have fallen, and a lot of folks, I just explained it to you, folks. Why is that? Is because the the retail segment of the gold and silver investment market is so tiny. It's overstocked. It's been selling off, and guys like my regular stackers and some of you folks, you're not buying anymore. You're plumb bought in at lower levels. Okay, there are new people coming in. Don't get me wrong. And once the people that fear of missing out people start coming in, then again the premiums on this stuff will fly up. But right now, premiums are really cheap. But why would premiums for gold kilos and big bars be higher when the smaller stuff is not? Well, because this is what industry buys, folks. Industry and investment buys. People that are backing their contracts and people that need it for industry are buying gold kilo bars, thousands and hundreds. And let me tell you, folks, a lot of our products, my coin dealer products, and we're going to talk about this, is it legal to melt U.S. coins? A lot of U.S. silver bars, a lot of bars, and a lot of gold coins here in the United States is getting melted. And it's not getting melted because no one wants to buy gold and silver bars. It's getting melted because it's desperately needed by industry, and it's desperately needed by these paper shenanigan fuckers. Excuse my language. Okay, I said it. All right, let me move on here. What does this mean? Retail sales. Retail sales remain subdued. Most seasoned stackers are currently in hold mode, as I said, leading to an oversupply and lower prices for retail products. Voila, said it there in a sentence. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off. I explained it in like 10 sentences earlier, but that was even tighter. Industrial investment demand. There's a significant demand for industrial investment grade bars, as I said, resulting in premiums that are higher than the usual. This trend confirms my long-held prediction. Physical, the dog is starting to wag the paper tail, which means that industry needs silver for cars, bombs, electronic devices, things that keep us alive, all right, and surviving. Industry needs silver for that stuff, and it is drying up. That's why the big bars are going there. And as I've said many times, folks, real-world applications, you can't manufacture cars, electronics, or weapons with paper. The surge in demand for physical metal underlines the tangible value and necessity of these materials in real-world applications, highlighting a market shift where physical assets are driving the narrative rather than paper-based financial instruments. Again, as I said, the dog is starting to wag the paper tail, and that's where we currently stand. Boy, I hope I kind of explained myself. I did a lot of catch-up here to kind of tell you where we've been as far as sales here in my store and what I'm hearing from other places. A lot of people in my industry and a lot of people that buy gold and silver are under the misunderstanding that the coin shops and precious metals are dead. because my coin dealer has so much of it. Or there's a coin shop out there that says, I've never had so much gold and silver in my store ever. Oh, it must be capitulation. Nobody wants it. No, 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 no. Nobody wants it from us. Industry doesn't buy from us. Tesla, solar panel companies, they don't buy from us, all right? So there you go. All right, let me move into another thing. James Anderson, who I respect greatly, brought up a really good point here about Jefferson nickels, and I think everybody knows about the penny being discontinued. And again, stupidity. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on. No, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. All right. And what I mean by that? I mean that the government knew 20, 30 years ago that nickels were costing way more than a nickel and pennies were costing way more than a penny. And I think James kind of pointed that out here. And I kind of brought up a point here that I said I think a lot of people, dealers, refiners, are in a big surprise when they realize they cannot melt U.S. coins legally for profit. And there are many doing it, okay? I was primarily referring to copper, pennies and nickels, all right? There's people out there melting copper bags, folks. I'm sure of it, I've had some people say, you got copper bags for sale? And I said, well, yeah, I don't want nothing to do with that, all right? That's a crime. Whether you get prosecuted for it or not, I don't know. Selling Chinese counterfeits in the United States is a crime, but people still do it at the flea market, so there you go. I kind of got into the interesting thing about it here, and you know what? I'm going to look at, where is, let me see if I can find that. All right. Well, actually, I'm not going to go back into X and show it to you at Grok, but what is the current law? Okay, here you go. Current law. Melting U.S. gold and silver coins is generally legal for personal use, but there are important legal considerations depending on the intent and type of coin. Under U.S. law, it is illegal to melt coins with the intent to defraud. Now, folks, here's the important part, which I don't think a lot of people are getting, or for commercial purposes, such as selling the metal for profit, which means that, yeah, you own your money, and, well, hold on, I'm going to go back. Screech, we're going to go back a little bit. I remember when this law was introduced because people started thinking about melting pennies and melting nickels. Hey, if I own 10,000, 1,000, 100,000 nickels and I want to melt them, I should be able to. Same thing with pennies. It's my money. I earned it, all right? There may be some argument out there that you might be harming the economy by taking coins off the market, but, for me, I own that money. What's the difference whether I melt it, bury it, throw it in the ocean, or melt it, all right? I own it. Gresham's law is probably what the difference is they want their copper back. They want their, it drives up. But anyway, again, I'll digress there. For commercial purposes, such as selling metal for profit. But I disagree with it. I think that it's your money. I mean, it's your $100 bills. If you want to burn it, if it's your copper, you want to burn it, you should be able to. But again, folks, what I believe is not the law. The law says that, and it's regulated by this regulation right here. You can look it up yourself. You can't melt copper coins or nickels for profit, all right? Which means that that's what most people are doing. You can melt it if you wanted to create a sculpture, apparently, which is weird. But for profit, no, they don't want you doing that, all right? And it says so. It says clearly there for commercial purposes. And I also had mentioned, to a couple guys, I don't find any laws, regulations allowing us to melt U.S. coins. So there's no clear regulation that says that, yeah, we can do it, all right? So I looked. If you can find that, let me know. But here's a caveat that I mentioned too. Again, although that law prohibits the exportation, melting, and treatment of 5-cent and 1-cent coins for process, this particular regulation only, or says specifically 1-cent and 5-cent coins, all right? But this regulation does not apply to gold and silver coins specifically. However, the spirit of the regulation extends to protect the integrity of U.S. currency. This means, and I should say coins, not currency, this means melting gold or silver coins to sell the metal for profit would be viewed critically at the very least, and you could potentially be breaking the law there. All right, so I'm going to look into this a little bit more, but again, the key word here, folks, is sell the metal for profit. All right. And, again, that was what I asked X. Hey, if you got any comments, let me know in the comment section. Do your own research. Is it legal to melt your or send your silver constitutional coins off to be melted into silver bars? Is it legal for you to sell your $20 gold pieces or your gold eagle to be melted into gold bars or just turned into cash from a refiner? Is that legal? It's a gray area, folks. So I'd sure like to hear more from you. And again, I'd like to thank James Anderson for bringing up that topic. Well, I think that's it. I'm going to just kind of cruise along here. I'm so happy I got a video done here. Get a chance to talk to you guys. My last video out was bullion coins and bars versus collectible silver bars, which did extremely well on X. We got big video view count on that. Not so much on YouTube. I think YouTube hates me, but hey, I don't blame them. I'm not too fond of them either. Sorry, I said it. Welco, so that's probably why, right? Welco Services, what's up? By the way, if you got a chance, watch this video. It's a damn good video. We shot it in a nice camera too, and the sound shouldn't be too bad. But I go over collectible stacking silver. Okay, pretty good video. Mark Hill says, very interesting. Hey, Mark, nice to hear from you. Silver Liner, always good to hear from you. Sorry I haven't done many videos and chatted with you here in the section here, but yeah, white glove treatment, you definitely deserve that. All my viewers do, and my commenters. Thank you for watching the videos. I can't thank you guys much. I mean, as much as I do. Christine, nice to hear from you as well. Thank you, James. And the Nor-Fed round, I spoke about the Nor-Fed round. That was the guy that went to prison for creating silver rounds that had a denomination on it. And if you want to know more about that, again, watch this last video, bullion coins and bars. Joe McDonough, and thanks, that is really good information there, Modern Numismatic Guy. My wife has strange my names on it. Okay, all right, I'll see if you comment this time. We'll see how that worked. Edward Sawyer, yeah, I know, it was tough. The zoom on that lens, I guess he could have zoomed in, but yeah, we're still kind of amateurs at this stuff, as you can tell. Modern Numismatic Guy, silver for Bitcoin, yeah, probably wasn't a good move here recently. Don't buy silver from, yeah, couldn't argue with that. Go broke stacking this junk. Oh, come on, Ron. That's a big sourpuss comment from you, but hey, you probably bought silver at $50 in 1980, and I don't blame you. All right, well, that's it, folks. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals, and as I always say, think for yourself and question authority. You've been lied to since day one. You know, even question what I'm fine with people questioning me, but question what I say. You know, question everybody. You know, think for yourself, more importantly, and I think you'll make better investment decisions, and you'll make better decisions in your life overall. All right, that's it. Again, thanks for watching, folks. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. If you're looking to buy gold, silver, and platinum, you live in South Florida, we're the place to go to. We don't have a website. You can't order from us online. However, if you don't have a good local coin dealer to buy gold and silver from, and the prices aren't real competitive, and before you start to look at SD, APMEX, and JM, which are great companies, and the other companies online, give us a call. If you're buying large quantities, we can probably help you do that with bank wires and some other forms of secure payment, and we'll save you a couple bucks too, and you get a smiley face on the other end of the phone. Smiley face on the phone. All right, well, you get a smiley voice. Hey, thanks again for watching. Miss you all, and I'll try to get some more of these videos pumped out. Have a great day. Bye now.